for consideration of member states is the adoption of the provisional agenda and tentative schedule for meetings and events. I understand that there are some new proposals for addition to the agenda. So I would request delegations who have new proposals to take the floor and introduce their proposals shortly. I see the flag of China. The distinguished delegate of China, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Madam President, distinguished guests. In accordance with the statutory rules of OCO, China respectively proposes to add the item international law in cyberspace to the agenda of this session. For this end, China has submitted an explanatory note on the proposed item, which has been circulated to all OCO member states by the Secretariat. As has been explained in the explanatory note, due to the profound impact that has been brought by the Internet on many aspects of our society, international governance of cyberspace has become a matter of common concern among the international community. In recent years, the application and development of international law in cyberspace have drawn great attention around the world. Extensive discussions are going on at various fora, which includes issues like cooperation on combating cybercrime, state sovereignty over cyberspace, peaceful use of cyberspace, and fundamentally, the applicability of the UN Charter and other norms of international law in cyberspace, and so on. The formation and development of international rules in cyberspace will have direct and concrete effect on the interest of every country. Asian and African countries have about 57% of the total internet users in the world and have huge potential for further growth of internet industry and economy. It is both the right and responsibility of Asian and African countries to participate even more actively in the rule-making process in cyberspace. As the only intergovernmental legal consultative body for countries from the two continents, OCO can serve as a useful forum for its members to carry out discussion and coordination on related legal issues in cyberspace and to enhance their capacity and participation in related international process. The inclusion of the item international law in cyberspace will also extend the agenda of OCO to an important new field and help OCO to keep pace with the development of international law. Madam President, distinguished colleagues, I would like to conclude my introduction here and hope our proposal will receive support from distinguished delegates. Thank you very much.
I thank the distinguished delegate of People's Republic of China. Are there any member states which want to support the proposal? I see Pakistan. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam. Since my delegation is taking the floor for the first time, I avail this opportunity to warmly thank and appreciate the commendable efforts that have been put in by the government of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan and their delegation. And we appreciate the hospitality that they have extended to us. And we will work together and do our efforts best to make this session successful. As far as the proposal by the People's Republic of China is concerned, I do not have to dilate on the importance of the subject or the reasons which have been proffered by the delegation. My delegation strongly supports the inclusion of this agenda item. Thank you.
India, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Madam President. India would like to thank the distinguished delegate of China for introducing the proposal. In fact, cybersecurity is a current and relevant issue, in spite of which at international plan, regionally and nationally, we do have serious gaps. There is no international convention to regulate cyberspace. We have been having certain events in the UN also, particularly last year. The permanent observer of ALCO organized one event on the cybersecurity issues, and we debated on that. So it would be useful in future to explore the possibilities to know, first of all, what is cyberspace, how it can be defined for the purpose of our deliberations, and what kind of crimes and the activities we want to regulate, what should be the modalities of our deliberations in future. And so far as the United Nations Charter is concerned, whether the crime is of the character and to warrant the exercise of self-defense also in such circumstances under Article 51 of the Charter. So it's a complex issue. It's a very opening issue at this time. So we would, in principle, again support and thank the distinguished delegate of China for their proposal, and would look forward deliberations in the next session on this important topic. Thank you.
Thank you. You have the floor, sir. Sorry, I cannot see the country because I think the room is quite spread out, so I'm sorry.
Since my delegation is the first time taking the floor, would like to express his appreciation for the hospitality and for the hosting this important meeting by the Islamic Republic of Iran, and we'd like also to express you in the chair as far as the proposal of distinguished delegation of China inserting new item. We think it's an important issue to be visit. Maybe by inserting this item we can even discuss the matter, visit the area from different angles. The concern of our distinguished colleague from India might be taken care through the discussion. I mean, inserting item is not necessarily adopting legal text with this regard. I mean, everything is open. The whole scenario is open, including, discussion, reaching to conclusion, provoking simulating the discussion for the future. Then we feel that it is a good idea to insert this item in the provisional agenda of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think there's a delegation right in the end. Sorry, I cannot see your name. You have the floor, sir. Please, Nigeria.
Thank you, Madam President. My delegation fully supports the proposal by China. The cyber space proposal is in tandem with our domestic efforts on this subject in Nigeria. We believe the proposal will enrich our experience and fully support it for full deliberations by this forum. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much. We have seen overwhelming support for Chinese proposal. South Africa also wants to take the floor. You have the floor, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank
The
you,
agenda
Madam
that
Chair.
has been proposed by China is pertinent in present context. That's why Nepal and Nepal government of Nepal supports the agenda that has been proposed by China. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have the floor, madam, now. South Africa.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and allow me to extend the thanks of the South African delegation to the Islamic Republic of Iran for hosting us in this beautiful country. We thank also the Chinese delegation for introducing the issue of international law in cyberspace onto the ALCO agenda. Issues pertaining to cyberspace and the internet are increasingly important and have security, social, and economic consequences. There currently exists no global or international convention governing cyberspace, and the Asian African Legal Consultative Organization is best placed to consider the issue from an international law perspective and allow for an exchange of views on the topic. South Africa therefore supports the introduction of this item on the agenda to exchange information on issues pertaining to international law on the topic. Thank you very much.
Sudan has the floor. You have the floor, sir.
السودان يؤيد مقترح جمهورية الصين بإعداد مشروع قانون الفضاء السبراني وحماية الإنترنت لحماية ذلك وأهمية هذا القانون بالنسبة لجميع الدول وخاصة دول الإلكو وسائر دول العالم. And thank you.
I don't see, okay. Republic of Korea, please. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. Considering the fact that human activities in cyberspace are not properly governed by the existing international legal system, the Republic of Korea delegation supports the proposal made by the Republic of China. Thank you.
Thank you. Republic of Iran, Islamic Republic of Iran, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. We also would like to join the previous speakers in supporting wholeheartedly the proposal put forward by the distinguished representative of the Republic of China. Thank you.
Since I think the proposal from China has enjoyed an overwhelming support, so we include this topic on the agenda of ALCO. I understand from the Secretariat that the substantive discussions on this topic would be held from the next session. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is admission of new members. I understand from the Secretariat that presently there are no new requests from any state for membership of ALCO. The next agenda item is admission of members. Admission of observers. We do not have any request for from any member state for admission as observers. So we go on to the next agenda item, which is the election of the president and vice president of this session. Is there any proposal for election of the president? I see the delegate of Nigeria. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. Distinguished delegates, it is my singular honor and privilege to propose the nomination of Mr. Danesh Yazdi, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Iran, for election as President of the 53rd session of the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other delegation which wants to take the floor to second the proposal? Pakistan has asked for the floor. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam. My delegation supports the proposal put forward by the distinguished delegate of Nigeria. Thank you.
Japan has asked for the floor. You have the floor, sir.
My delegation had the honor to propose that His Excellency Mr. Danesh Yazdi, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Iran, as president of the ALCO's 53rd annual session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think there is an overwhelming support for election of Mr. Danish Yazidi, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Islamic Republic of Iran, as the president of this session. And Mr. Yazidi would be taking over as president of this session. And congratulations, Mr. Yazidi. The next item is election of the Vice President. Are there any proposal for the election of the Vice President? Thank you very much. I think there's no mic at the back. It's the Sri Lankan delegation has proposed that Mrs. Agemba Christine Anyango, Deputy Solicitor General of Kenya, as the Vice President for this session. Are there any other countries which want to? Please, sir, you have the floor.
السودان لا وين؟ جاي مقترح وين؟ مالك تعيين وين؟ السودان يؤيد المقترح المتعلق بتعيين تعيين نائب للرئيس من دولة كينيا، وهذا هو الذي يقترحه السودان للجميع. If possible.
Yeah, I think that is very much possible. So we would declare Mrs. Agembe Christine Anyango, Deputy Solicitor General of Kenya, as the Vice President for this session. Before I call on the President of the 53rd session to come to the podium and take over his present duties, I would take this opportunity to thank all of you, all the member states, for extending cooperation to me during my presidency. And I would once again thank the Secretary General and the ALCO Secretariat for all the help which they have given me during my presidency. Thank you very much, and I will invite Mr. Danish Yazidi to come to the podium and take over his duties as the President of the 53rd session of ALCO. And I would also invite Mrs. Anyango to come to the podium to take over her duties as the Vice President.
May I invite the Vice President to come up here and to join us? Statement of it, or what is statement? Just to make the housekeeping note. This one, okay. Oh, what is the? AMC.
few housekeeping announcements. After the president of the current session delivers his opening statements, I would kindly request the press personnel to please leave the hall. And I also have a very special request for the member states that we would require you to give your general statements or statements pertaining to all the other deliberated items in advance to the Secretariat so that we could give them to the interpretations for effective translation of the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to express my profound gratitude to all the delegations for electing me as President of the 53rd Annual Session of the ALCO to steer the work of this highly valued organization for the next year. It would be my privilege to work along with the Secretary General, the distinguished Secretary General, the efficient staff of the Secretariat, and all of you to help the organization play a more active role in international lawmaking processes. I am determined to continue to rely on your counsel and immense wealth of experience in the management of the affairs of the organization. I would also like to congratulate the President of the 52nd Annual Session of the ALCO, Madam Dr. Neeru Chadha, the outgoing President of the ALCO and Joint Secretary of Legal Department and Treaty Division of the Ministry of External Affairs of India, for the very successful completion of her tenure and for the exemplary stewardship and leadership and commitment she demonstrated towards the fulfillment of the purposes of the organization. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, ALCO is a unique and perhaps the only intergovernmental organization that spans two most important continents of the world, namely Asia and Africa. The importance of these two continents, the common concern of the countries on many and various social, economic, and political issues give us lots of leverage and should be an impetus to engage as a group in the UN General Assembly and its subsidiary bodies, respective subsidiary bodies, namely International Law Commission, the Sixth Committee, as well as in other multilateral fora. There is also a need for interaction with other multilateral agencies and sister organizations to take forward our objectives. Certainly during my tenure, I hope we will be able to persuade and encourage more states to join this worthy organization from our two continents. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, in the forthcoming days, we will be deliberating on a variety of current and relevant subjects of interest in the realm of the international law. I'm sure we would learn from each other's views and be able to arrive at common understandings and positions on different and interested topics of international law. In this regard, I call upon all distinguished delegates to focus on the agenda items which have been carefully selected in the light and adopted in the light of their relevance to contemporary global affairs. I am optimistic that the 53rd annual session will achieve its objectives and lay the foundation for greater cooperation and partnership among our member states in the years to come. I therefore look forward to a robust and healthy exchange of views and to conclusions and outcomes which will be practical, relevant, and beneficial to all delegations and participants and to their respective countries. Having said that, may I once again thank all of you for your support in electing me to this chair and to place the trust in me to guide the organization and assist the distinguished Secretary General to carry on the worthy work of this institution and organization. May now open the floor for the statements and remarks of the distinguished delegations. The floor is open. Is there any list of a speaker? If there is, I would appreciate if I can receive that list. I can proceed with the list prepared by the Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The first speaker on the list is the distinguished Minister of the People's Democratic Republic of Korea, to whom I give the floor now. Mr. Minister, you have the floor.
우장 선생, 알코 총석이 선생, 대표 여러분, 나는 먼저 알코 제53차 회의 준비에 많은 노력을 기울인 이란 이슬람 공화국 정부와 인민에게 사의를 표시합니다. 본 회의 성과를 위하여 헌신적으로 노력한 동석이 선생과 서의국 일꾼들에게 사의를 표하면서 본 회의가 훌륭한 성과를 거둘 것을 확신합니다. 아시아 아프리카 법률 협상기구는 국제 법률 무대에서 성원들의利益을 대변하며 공정한 국제 법제 질서를 세워나가는 데서 많은 기여를 하고 있습니다. 나는 이 기회에 이번 회의의 주요 의제로 상정된 일부 문제들에 대한 조선민주주의인민공화국 정부의 원칙적 입장에 대하여 밝히려고 합니다. 첫째로, 개별적 국가가 국내법을 발동하여 자기와 사회제도를 달리하는 선택적인 국가들의 제재와 봉쇄를 실시하는 것은 자주권 존중과 내정 불간섭, 평등과 호혜, 국가들이 사회제도 선택의 자유를 보장할 것을 규제한 국제법의 일반적 원칙들에 대한 람폭한 위반이라는 것입니다. 미국은 국제재판관 행세를 하면서 저들이 비에 거슬리는 나라들에 대해서는 저들이 국내법을 마구 휘둘러 이 나라들이 발전과 안정된 생활을 무참히 유린하고 있습니다. 오늘 우리나라와 이란, 수리아를 비롯하여 기구의 여러 성원국들이 강권과 전횡의 산물인 미국의 일방적인 제재와 봉쇄로 하여 나라의 안정과 경제, 문화 등 국가의 발전과 인민생활 향상을 위한 활동에서 부당한 저해를 받고 있습니다. 미국은 지난 수십 년간 적성국 무역법, 수출행정관리법, 대원조법, 수출입은행법을 비롯한 수십 가지의 제재 법들을 발동하여 우리나라에 제재를 가해왔습니다. 미국의 이러한 비열한 처사는 우리의 사상과 제도에 대한 병적이며 체질적인 거부감으로부터 우리의 사상과 제도를 말살하려는 정치적 목적을 추구하는 데 근원을 두고 있습니다. 국내법의 영토의적 적용을 통해 특정된 나라들에 대하여 일방적으로 제재를 가하는 행위와 그를 통해 3자에게까지 피해를 주는 행위를